Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Wake Up Legendary. Happy Monday. It is July. I better confirm my date on my computer. July 15th, 2024. Another amazing week. We're kicking off with a pretty cool guest that I'm excited about. I'm excited for everyone to hear his story. I think a lot of you will relate to it, understand it, and learn a lot because he's kind of moved past some of those early hurdles a lot of us experience when we start out, which is pretty cool. And he's just right in the thick of it, which I love. For those that don't know me, my name is Joanne, as I shared earlier. I am the director of marketing and live training here with Legendary Marketer, and I am here all week. Dave's out on a well-deserved vacation. And I have the pleasure of being able to sit in all week. So we are going to have some fun. I'm a little off the cuff, maybe more than Dave at times. So enjoy the ride. It's going to be fun. And without further ado, please welcome Michael to the show. Good morning and happy Monday, Michael.
Good morning. Hi, Joanne.
Nice to have you here. Just before we started, our only conversation is that we're both on the West Coast. It's a nice 7 a.m. early time for us.
Oh, yeah. Already had my cup of coffee.
Right, exactly. But share with us your history, your backstory, how you fell into the online space.
Yeah. So it all started back in 2019. And yeah, I was in corporate America tech sales, right? And I was deeply unhappy in that role. It was traveling sales, so I was always, away from family, away from friends. And, I wanted more, I think like everybody, right? So I started looking up, how to make money online, side hustles, and all of that back then. And eventually, I was targeted with a course that was like, hey, you can start a digital marketing agency. And I was like, okay, so I bought that course back in 2019 and started my journey then. Yeah, and really my goal going into that was to leave corporate America, be my own boss. I think that's, a lot of people's goals as well. And I was able to do that in 2 years. And one of the really cool things about starting the journey as well, that course I bought had a mastermind in Mexico. And this was in 2021, like 10 people, intimate event. And there was a girl there that I met who 10 months later became my wife. So,
Oh, I love it.
so it wasn't a relationship course, it was a digital marketing one, but I found my wife, which was really interesting. And yes, and I was able to leave my corporate job that I, didn't like at the time, and yeah, built that business up. Had at our peak 10 employees. I had a business partner. It all was going good, and then eventually the business failed.
That churn is a bitch, huh?
Yeah. And yeah, there were a lot of learning lessons from that entire journey. One of the things I found was that, I still loved sales. And I think when I really looked at my, couple years in corporate America, it was really the traveling that I didn't like, but I still loved, sales. So after that business, I sort of shifted, about 2 years ago now into remote sales. So being on my laptop, being able to take calls and do it from the comfort of my home, get to spend more time with my wife, my family, my friends, and I enjoyed that a lot more. But I was always looking for more still, being able to be my own boss and build some sort of thing online. I didn't know what it would be then. Yeah, and then in 2023, I came through the education. I think in October, November of last year, went through the whole thing and was like, okay, this actually makes a lot of sense. One of the things I didn't like about my previous business was that I had, employees, overhead. I was working like 100-hour weeks. And I was like, there's no way that I could build that while doing remote sales, while being a present husband, being there for my future kids. And, my goals really relate around me wanting to be a present father. I'm not a father yet, but in the next, 1 or 2 years, that is in the, it's coming up. So I have friends that are getting married, and having kids all the time, and their biggest complaint is that they're missing milestones with kids. They're traveling, and like that's just not the kind of husband or father that I want to be, and that's kind of my main driver. But yeah, I went through the education. I think posted my first reel at the end of November, so 7 or 8 months ago, and yeah, here we are today. So
I love it. What I love, I relate a lot to your story too, that once you get into this world, which is really cool, what I want people that are like, this is their first like month or two, usually when we're watching Wake Up Legendary, a lot of viewers are, and they don't get that once you go into the digital world, there's so many different fingers, and there's going to be things that you do for a year or two. There's going to be things that you just allow the doors to open, and
mhm,
some will close in the process. But as long as you just keep stepping forward through them, and you keep with that mindset of, okay, what else can I learn? What can I apply? Because I know I can do this. I know I can make this work. I already have made it worked. I've had the season of an agency, and it was time for it to set. And that doesn't mean I have failed in all things online by any means. And it doesn't mean I have to go back to my 9 to 5. It's just, okay, now what do I move on to next? And
mhm.
right for me and where I'm at right now. What did I learn from that? Heck, you met your wife through that process, you know? Exactly. That's so cool. And I think that's what I love most even about this whole industry is it all comes back to what skills are you learning? How are you going to apply them? And are you going to keep stepping forward, or are you always looking for a reason to just quit it all? And anyone I know who's been around in the online space, no matter what they've done, agency, remote sales, course creator, affiliate marketer, or a mix of all of it, because that's really the sweet spot, right? Is when you can
Mhm.
do a lot of it. Um, they always have pretty cool stories, just like your own. And yeah, there's some moments that people could tell, oh, that was a failure. That wasn't fucking a failure. That's not a failure. There were some big wins from that. And you probably learned a lot about yourself too along the way. And you
Oh
learned
yeah.
you didn't want to manage 10 people. And you learn there is a lot of overhead when you're dealing with an agency. And if you're going down the agency route, there's a whole lot of churn you got to deal with. And they are 80, 100-hour weeks. There's no way around it.
Mhm.
That's kind of that beast that comes with that. But man, you learn a lot. I'm telling you, you learn how to wear a lot of hats pretty quickly as
Yeah.
well. And I love just your openness to, all right, these are my ultimate goals to be able to be present with my family, my future family.
Mhm.
So I got to start now, and being really committed to your craft, to your knowledge, and to just keep stepping forward. And I hope everyone really grasps that because your story is powerful. I love it. And now
Thank
you're,
you.
yeah, and now you're in this new stage, which I think is cool. And you've set targets for yourself. I read on your form about subscribers and all of that. So let's talk about your content at the beginning, because I think a lot of people can relate to that, and what you realized from the beginning content creation, the first set of reels and whatnot that you were putting out.
Definitely. So when I started, I've never posted a reel before. So like agency transferable skills, a lot of it was really the mindsets that was able to transfer over and to like really go and like never give up. But I never posted a reel before. So when I actually went in and started doing it, I was like, all right, how do I edit the reel and do the text overlay and talk to the camera? And I was a bit nervous doing it. And honestly, I'm going to be very honest. I was just copying other creators in the beginning. I'm in the make money online niche, and I didn't really know what to post. I went through the education. I had kind of an idea, but I didn't really find my voice, my style yet. So I was just seeing, okay, what are the people ahead of me posting? And I saw a lot of like side hustle videos and remote job videos. I'm in the make money online niche. So I just sort of copied a lot of those in the beginning, and I felt like a robot when I watched the videos back. I was like cringing at myself like that first month. And yeah, it just didn't feel right. So eventually I was like, okay, like let me like really think about this. Like I want to provide value for people. And if I'm saying and look, nothing wrong with like side hustle videos, like whoever does it, it's fine. It just wasn't for me, honestly. And eventually it started shifting, and I was like, let me actually think about edutainment, providing value.
Mhm.
So skills, tools. I'm like, okay, well, I use Chat GPT a lot. Let me talk about that. Or ManyChat, or funnel building, email marketing, lead generation, content creation, and all these sort of pillars I had. My content started evolving over the months, and it was a slow grind in the beginning, but it was totally expected. My mindset coming into this, and this is kind of what transferred over from building an agency. The first course I bought was like, you're going to make this much money in this amount of time, and I just had it in my head that okay, like it's all these like financial and monetary goals that I just never hit in that timeline, and I always felt like a failure with that business, if I'm being honest. So going into this, I was like, I'm not setting any monetary goal. I'm just going to come in and say, okay, I'm going to do whatever it takes to start, never give up. So I'm like, okay, let's do 1 year straight posting videos every day, and let's measure my success more on showing up, posting videos every day, always improving, looking at the analytics and the metrics. But every new follower, every new email subscriber, anybody who tries to get my lead magnet, like that's a huge win. So I sort of built my success metrics on that. So I don't stress about this business at all. I'm not going, okay, I need to make 10 grand a month in my first 6 months or 12 months. It's like, no, I just hit 500 reels on my Instagram page. And my first thought was, okay, what's my page going to be like when I hit 5,000 reels, or, 10,000 reels in the next, 3, 5, 10 years, right? I'm trying to think very big picture, long term. And I know eventually, the money will come. Like that's just like my internal goal. It's going to come eventually if I just keep showing up for my business and never give up. But I'm just like not worried or thinking about any of that. And it allows me to really enjoy what I'm doing with this business.
Everyone needs to go back and bookmark right where he starts to answer that question and rewatch that over and over and over and over. I've actually had students argue with me because you put it so eloquently. It can't be about the money. And when people hear that, they go, then why am I here? Why am I here? Of course, you're building a business. Of course, we want you to be profitable. Of course, there's money involved in the end. But if you only focus on that, you're destined to fail. You'll forget about all the other things that you have to do along the way that really needs your day-to-day focus, right? It's kind of the monetary part is the result, and we can't focus on the result. We have no control over the result, so to speak. It's like saying at the start of a basketball game, we have to score 78 points and we need to beat the other team by 12. It has to be that by the end of the game. That's the equivalent of saying I have to make X number of dollars in the next 45 days. It's the same thing. It's not realistic. It's not something you can actually plan for. But you can say, all right, we're going to pass the ball X number of times. We're going to run this play X number of times. And as it relates to our industry, we're going to do a race to 100, as Dave said last week, 100 reels, 100 pieces of content. We're going to be writing emails. We're going to work on our lead magnet. We're going to get better at connection. We're going to get better at putting hooks out there. We're going to get better at and look at the analytics. We're going to get better at copywriting, and we're going to show up every day. And then let's see where we're at. How close are we to target? That's the difference. And the longevity piece is huge. If you come into the online space, if you come to any business, I don't care if it's virtual or a brick and mortar, and you are expecting the world within 2 weeks, 30 days, or a really short period of time, you're going to be highly disappointed. Highly disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
On Decade in a Day on Friday, we were talking about how much stock a lot of us put into that first video, that first reel we post, right? You get all this pressure, you feel this stress, you feel like this is the one, if I mess it up, my whole business is ruined. And I related to it. It's just the equivalent of a brick and mortar, your mom and pop donut shop saying open, turning the sign from closed to open.
Yeah.
That's it. The crowd doesn't come rushing in right when you switch that sign on to open. But you have to start. You have to open. You have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's really what that is. Was it easy for you to switch content? Because you said you did a lot of side hustles. It didn't feel like you. And that's huge, guys. You got to make content that really you feel good about, that you get excited to make. But you realized that it wasn't for you and you had to make a switch. How was making that switch? Because I think a lot of our students are in that phase where they're like, I don't really love the content I've been doing and I need to make adjustment, but how do I do it? How did you do it? What worked for you?
Testing, honestly, just testing different things. So I really focused on just the skills that I learned, especially coming through the challenge and the education. I really love how Legendary is just very focused on, hey, learn some skills, here's some tools, here's a business plan, you put it all together, and like, hey, by the way, the average person like doesn't, make any money doing this. It's just you guys set really good expectations, which will just, I think, improve the chances of people actually coming through and starting. Your guys' goal is to help people start, and I think you do a great job of it. So for me, I was like, okay, that's like a really good sort of MO or strategy. Can't think of the word. But essentially, I looked at my content and I was like, how can I, inspire people to actually start? So what's hard in the world? Inflation, cost of living is tough. So there's a need and desire to make an extra buck. Doing it online is like one of the many ways to do it. So I kind of came from that approach. And then I was like, hey, funnels are really powerful. I'm in remote sales. I have to hop on calls and talk to people like all day, every day. But a funnel does the selling 24/7, 365. So let's talk about funnels.
Right.
Let's talk about email autoresponders. So I just started kind of building these sort of pillars and then testing content. And then eventually videos just started, getting more, not just more views, more engagement. I started noticing. And then that was around the time, I think this was in May, where I built like a really good lead magnet, because then I was like, okay, I had this another lead magnet that I kind of copied from other people. I like clicked on all the top people, downloaded their ebooks that were all like 5 pages long with just, some information, so I just kind of did the same thing. That didn't feel like me. So I'm like, let me write a really, really good like lead magnet as well. It's 32 pages long. It's like, hey, if anybody follows this step by step, you can use that. You can go watch YouTube videos. You can take this challenge that I recommend. Here are like all these options to actually start. But I didn't just put fluff in that ebook. So a lot of my content too is like, hey, if you want to start, comment this, and then you get the ebook and everything. So I don't know if that kind of answers the question. It's just different pillars basically, and then it felt so good not doing the side hustle videos for me. I think there was one I saw where it was like, get paid $5,000 to poop, and I was like, it's really funny, but like, is that can you actually do it? I don't know.
Right. I think ultimately it becomes to where so many people are doing the same pieces of content. It doesn't even have to be a side hustle. It could be anything. But when we start just replicating over and over and over, it waters down everybody's brand. Because then the viewer sees the same piece of content. We'll use the poop one as an example, 20 different times, and they all use a different, like, you can make 2,000 or you can make 1,000, or well, which one is it? Y'all are telling me I sell poop at a different price point. None of you have tried it. You just saw another video about it. And it's literally, it just waters everything down, and now nobody knows who you are.
Mhm.
And it may have been showing a little bit of humor and personality of the original like poster of that video.
Mhm.
That would have been different, but then people took it, oh, it's just a side hustle video, we got to copy it, let's go. And it turned into this whole thing that people that didn't even match or see it as funny were posting it, and it just didn't come across right. It just wasn't. The goal was gone, strategy behind it was lost. And it ends
Yeah.
up like really pissing a lot of viewers off because they start seeing the same stuff over and over. And then TikTok
Mhm.
tags you as not being original, and it becomes a whole thing.
Yeah.
Why did I get tagged? Why do I get a warning? This person over here didn't get a warning. Well, they've been around longer, and they probably made that video 3 months ago,
Yeah.
and you're just you don't have your own brand identity online, and that's really what we
Mhm.
need. It sounds like you ultimately you found your voice, you found what feels good to you. You put in an ebook, which you could freaking sell at 32 pages, Michael. That could be a paid lead magnet down the line if you want it.
Mhm.
Test, maybe. But it's serving its purpose right now of building that list. And that's your focus right now, is getting that list. And the list is huge, guys. The list is huge because that's something Michael can retarget and keep going after, and provide new opportunities and recommendations and build further recommendations and connection with that audience for years.
Yeah.
And your reels are like one-time shots, kind of. You're going to get more people follow and watch you, but if you can get them on your email list, now you have them forever,
Yeah.
essentially, which is pretty cool. And I love that piece. But yeah, it comes back to finding what do you want your business to represent, not just right now, but a year from now, 2 years from now. And I love that you have this long-term vision. Do you feel like you got that from the agency piece before that, or did this evolve recently?
Good question. I mean, what I learned from the agency is that whenever I set these big, lofty goals, it just put unnecessary pressure on me. And then I was just always stressed out with the business.
Mm,
Um, Rome wasn't built in a day. I think that's the quote. So any good thing that you want to build, an online business, a brick and mortar, whatever it is, it's going to take much, much longer than whatever you plan. Like if you have in your head, I'm going to be rich in 6 months, it's like multiply that by like 10x or something, 6 years, or maybe not
right.
6 years, but it's going to take longer than whatever you originally planned, especially if you're brand new to the online space. I see people all the time, put all this unnecessary pressure on themselves. So I think a lot of it came from just the last business and just seeing the pressure I put on myself. So coming into this, I was like, okay, if I have a goal, it's going to be 1,000 email subscribers my first year. Something, if I'm posting videos every day, I feel like something like that's attainable, and
Right.
then now
Yeah.
kind of seeing where my business is going, I'm like, okay, 6 months to hit like 1,000 email subscribers. And now it's sort of becoming exponential, which is really cool. But again,
Mhm.
I'm just focused on building that list. And because you could always monetize down the line when you have a list with, the core 4 business models that are taught at Legendary. So,
Right. Yes. And that's what I love. There's so much in those blueprints of you're not gonna go through it and do all of it immediately. But
mhm,
when time comes, you have something there. We have blueprint students that, took the challenge 2 years ago, got into the blueprints, focused on just affiliate marketing, and now they hopped into our digital products and course blueprints, and they've built out their own course. And it's been really cool to see them evolve as a business owner.
mhm.
And I love seeing that. I love seeing people at their beginning stages and then where they take this. I think that's exciting for me. That's why I'm here. This is why I do what I do, and I'm in the role, is to help people see their next season and what's possible. And
Yeah.
see that happen. It's just, that's what fulfills me. That's what fills my cup, so to speak. And I love that you're seeing that in yourself as well. It sounds to me, ultimately, the switch you made was, how do I serve my audience further
Hmm.
as self, showing up as me, showing up as what I feel is important for my brand and the brand identity you want. And that's what you went after.
Yeah, I think
That's
that's a good way to put it.
yeah. And then it was an easy switch. It was an easy switch in content. It was easy, not easy, but simple. You know,
Hmm.
you just were able to be like, okay, I'm now going to do different types of content because I need to make a change that I feel good about, and that I'm going to
Hmm.
be able to do 3 years from now because I feel good about it. Um,
Yeah.
and you took all your knowledge and threw it into a really cool, huge, massive 32-page ebook that is giving a ton of value that you feel good about. And then you're using everything in that ebook to also help your content and get more ideas there and put them into your email campaigns and build that list. And I love
Hmm.
doing the synergy of it all, of how you're using it, is beautiful.
Thank you.
So even though you've been in the online space and you've been in remote sales and you've worn a few different hats in the online space for a number of years, give some advice for someone that this is their first rodeo. They've been in the online space a week, a month, 2 months, 6 months. What's your advice to them that's just starting out? They're in the challenge or just finished it. What would you advise them of?
Great question. Don't set big crazy goals in the beginning, and is I don't know if it's counterintuitive, but people are starting an online business because they want to make money online, and for whatever reason make an extra buck, leave a job that they don't like, provide more for their family. Like I
Mhm.
get all that, but you can't set like this big monetary goal and then put like a time stamp on when that has to happen. I just think so many people start like that. Like I get DMs every day like asking me how much I make, and it's like I don't share that, and I'm never going to share that. That's not my MO. And
Wouldn't
you
that
shouldn't
be
be
weird
focusing
to
on
be
those.
like, hey, so how much are you making? Like to your like neighbor?
It's
What's
strange
your
when
salary? That would be a weird conversation.
yeah, when you really think about it, it's strange. Like, do you see Dave going on Wake Up Legendary every day and saying, "Hey, legendary marketers doing this much. I
Never,
take home this much." Have you ever heard him say that? No, and he's a
never.
very
We never
successful
have.
business owner.
That's why people are like, oh, I learned blah 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 from. I'm like, you didn't learn that from us. Where are we
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's to, not set these big monetary goals and just set like milestone type goals. So, get an education, focus on just starting the business, set up your funnel, don't overthink it, like a one pager, write an ebook, just get the business set up and then just start like posting content. Your first 10 videos are probably going to suck, and then they're going to get a little less sucky over time until it starts, working in terms of engagement and reach and everything. But what worked for me is just milestones. Like every time I get a new follower, like in the beginning, I was like, whoa, I went from 0 to 5 followers overnight. Like, hurrah, let's celebrate that. Or I got my first email subscriber. Just focus on those metrics because they're a lot more tied to the work that you're putting in every day. Like posting a video, it gets reach, people see it. Some people are going to click and follow and get your ebook, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's just milestone goals. Plan to stick with it for at least a year, without expecting anything big or life changing to happen. That's another big one too. Some people it happens sooner. If it happens to you sooner, awesome. I know that if you're making money, you're not going to send it back to the affiliate companies or say take the
Wait,
money back because I have
too
the
early. Too
yeah
early. Send the money
too
back.
early. Yeah. But if it does take a year or longer, if you set the expectations right from the get-go, your odds of giving up are going to be much lower, which means that your chances of success are going to be higher.
Yeah, it's so true. I love it. I love that advice. And, there was another piece of advice you shared there that whether you realized it or not, Because ultimately, guys, we got to take imperfect action. He's like, just get your funnel out, even if it's a one-pager, whatever. It's simple, two-step, could be ugly fugly. It doesn't matter. Just get it live. Because the thing is, you can adjust it after it's live. You can change it. You can change it every day of the week if you want, but put it on your social media. Be creating content and have it there in case somebody clicks. And then you just keep adjusting it. But we have a lot of people that I'm not going to post a video. I'm not putting my link in my bio anywhere for anyone to see or find. And I'm going to work on this funnel until it's perfect for 3 months, 5 months, 6 months even. They're still working on their funnel, still getting ready to get ready. But you can work that same amount on your funnel and still have your link live, guys, and be creating content and learning how to get better at that. It all comes down to imperfect action, because perfection is a freaking lie. It's a lie that keeps us stuck. And you're just like, let's just go. Let's put out the 10 videos we don't think are great, but we're still going to go. Let's put out the first ebook they don't really love, but then you adjusted it and updated it. Right? And it's really, it's all about still taking action, and then you can adjust and update it. You're always going to upgrade what you're doing, guys, which is really cool. It's not okay, this is my funnel and now it's stuck in stone, it's concrete, no changes could ever be made. Right? That would be wild. You got to test headlines, you got to test your pictures that are on your phone. Do you know that your image that you have on a funnel could change your percent of those that opt in, but those that click to the next step? And you test those things, and you do split testing, and then you look at the analytics. Did it play a role? Did it not? Oh crap, it did play a role. I went through months of testing our timer on our sales page.
Wow.
And I found the sweet spot of where we had the highest percentage. Like, those are just little tiny tweaks that just help along the way.
Just got to test. Yeah.
But you never know until you test it.
Yeah.
Which is cool. So there was just always be working, but have it live, which I think is really neat for you. What have you seen as the biggest change in yourself since you started this journey to now?
Great question. Confidence, actually. That's like the first word that comes to my mind. When I built the business, I mean, the last time around with my agency, there were a lot of like insecurities and fears and imposter syndrome that I had to try to overcome. And then sometimes that first kind of punch in the gut where like the business failed, I was like, oh no, am I like not cut out for this? So jumping into it again, this is a lot more like my face is out there on the internet, and it's like a business kind of revolved around me, because I'm not doing it faceless. It's my brand, myself is intertwined, my goals, my journey. So that was a lot different. So kind of going through this, I was like, I struggled with those feelings of like, am I good enough for this? Am I gonna self-sabotage and everything? And I'm building confidence through action, which I really like, because now that I've been posting every single day for almost 8 months. I just hit 500 reels. It's like, every day that I do it now, I just feel those feelings of inadequacy sort of going away as I continue to build confidence. So yeah, it's confidence for sure.
Oh, I love that. You build confidence through action, not by watching everyone else. Not even by just taking you build confidence as you learn skills, but you build that real confidence and get through that imposter syndrome that shows up until you actually start doing the dang thing.
Yeah.
And that's it seems so simple. Oh, you just got to start, guys. You just got to start. But I get it. That fear, it's in your chest, you feel it in your stomach. Some people may even get the sweats thinking about it, and we're taught to run away from that feeling. So then we sit in it and we wait another week, and pretty soon it's 2 weeks. Pretty soon it's 3 weeks. And we haven't posted that video, but we've watched everybody else scroll theirs. The algorithm has found us, and we're seeing every other person that's in our same niche, right? And then it gets worse. Oh, the imposters. Oh, that person's now on their 30th video I haven't posted yet. They started after me. Look how much better they are, and they started after me.
Comparisonitis.
Right?
Oh no.
It all comes together, and it all comes back from that fear base.
Yeah.
Of fear of failure, fear of success, fear of there's a lot in both of those focuses into play. And it gets, what do you think your biggest fear that you had to overcome?
Fear of success, actually, because I think I got so close to where I wanted to be with the last business, and right when things started taking off, just the whole business fell apart, and I was like, whoa, this, maybe I'm not good enough, and I sort of like spiraled mentally at that time. It was pretty intense. And now, I think it's still something that I'll struggle with. I think that I've been somebody in the past who's like self-sabotaged. I get close to something, I get close to a goal or making a bunch of money doing, whatever. And then like, something will happen, or like I'll just self-sabotage. So I'm just really focused on just with this business this time around, just showing up every day and not putting the pressure on myself. That's been like the biggest thing, is just don't put that crazy amount of pressure on myself. But fear of success has always, I think that's the first one that comes to mind.
Yeah. So my family business is a brick and mortar. For those that don't know, since I was 21, we've had a kid gym. We teach gymnastics and track and field and lots of kid sports stuff. And fear of success in kids is real. It's huge. Because you teach a kid a cartwheel, and when they get it, they realize, oh crap, when I get this skill, I'm going to have to learn something else new. I have to level up, and I'm now a beginner again with a new skill. And the same thing goes for here. Oh, once I get good at something, there's now going to be something else I'm not good at that I'm going to have a little bit of a square one as you level up. Yeah. It's like, oh crap, now I'm now level 2, but I'm a beginner at level 2. I don't want to feel that way. I just got some success behind me. How do I stay right here? But then now you're stuck. Now you're stagnant, and now there's no growth. So you have to then, okay, now there's the next thing. All right, how do I manage 10,000 followers? I was so stoked I got to 1,000. But what's that going to look like? Is it going to be too much for me? Do I have to learn new systems? Do I have to put into play? Do I have to hire someone? Do I have to have staff? Do I have to have this? And you start, that is what fear of success is, guys. It's as you level up, you go, crap, I have to learn something at the next stage. And what if I'm not good enough at that stage? And so we self-sabotage to stay right where we're at. We do it in all areas of life. And even as kids, we'll see it. And it's a really interesting concept. And people don't realize a lot of time it's not fear of failure. It is fear of success. And I love that you shared that and identified it. That's a huge, not a lot of people like to talk about that, but it's actually, I think, one of the biggest fears out there. And when you can identify that, that's when you can really level up to a whole other plane with your business. And that's where that longevity piece comes in. When you
100%.
Yeah. And work through that, which is huge. Michael, I love your whole outlook on life, on business.
Thank you.
You are smart. I can tell that you have a beautiful service to your audience. And I can't wait to see where this takes you a year from now, where you're going to be 5 years from now, where you're going to be when you have little ones running around and you have that whole other element to your life.
Oh man.
Which will be cool too. And you
Yeah.
definitely need to come back and talk and sit down with Dave as well. I know he would love to have a conversation with you.
Yeah, I would love that.
Yeah, definitely. Jasper says, I need my own hat throw down. You know, that's such a thing. It would be like a weird copycat thing if I started throwing a hat down. But yes, there we go, Michael. You throw the hat down.
You know, I have a huge sunburn on my head right now. I was on a boat like this weekend and I wasn't wearing a hat, so my entire scalp is like red right now. So it's gonna be fun seeing the recording of like where I don't know. It's like so burnt that like kind of hurt, but there we go. I gave somebody the hat throw.
That's great. Jasper, you got the hat throw from Michael. I love it. Well, thank you for coming on this morning. Absolutely fantastic. If anyone came in late, you have to go rewatch this. If you were here the whole time, rewatch this episode. This was powerful. If you are feeling stuck, if you're feeling stagnant, this is the episode to rewatch and remind yourself of. So go on Spotify and Apple later, save it to your phone, re-listen to this bad boy, because Michael spilled like not just like gold nuggets, but huge dumpster of bars in everybody's front yard this morning
Thank
of
you.
advice. And this was just massive. So thank you so much, Mike, for coming on. And you definitely need to come back.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me, Joanne.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks again. All right, guys, please go follow Michael on Instagram at Michael Z, the affiliate. All connected, no spaces, no dashes, just Michael, the letter Z, and then the affiliate. You'll find him on Instagram. Go give him a follow, go comment, go check out his content, give him some love, let him know you saw his interview. And I am 100% serious in my advice. Save this episode and re-watch it, especially as you're having any type of fear, any type of feeling stuck, any type of imposter syndrome, any type of comparisonitis going on. Re-watch this episode. I promise you it will help you. And every time you re-listen to it, you're going to get a new nugget, because Michael dropped a lot in this episode, whether you realize it or not. There were a lot of little pieces in there that will help you over and over again. I am back with all of you tomorrow. I am here all week. Dave is out on a well-deserved vacation with his family, and I have the pleasure of sitting in once again. We'll see you tomorrow, and as always, stay legendary. Peace.